Hello, hello, beautiful people. Today is what? Tuesday. NFL playoff time. Let's get it. Welcome to the Sideline Speaks with myself, Brittany Jones, alongside Jason Collins and Kevin Walker, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Media Network. What's going on, K Walker and Jay?
All is well. All is well. Looking forward to another great one, guys.
Yeah, everything's good, man. Them boys showed up last night, so I'm feeling real good today. Feeling real good today.
It's okay. We're going to let it go ahead, Jay. Take all the time you need to gloat. I'll let you have it.
No, I'm not. I'm not gloating because I know what's waiting around the corner. So I'm happy, but I'm not too excited.
Did y'all see? I don't know. I sent it to you. I don't know if you guys got the chance to see the video of the Cowboys fan who was in the stadium after they won, and they FaceTime Debo Samuel, and Debo's like, "Okay, this is what we doing." He was like, "I'm out."
I actually saw that before you sent it. I actually saw that early in the morning because I get 49er updates, and that was one of the 49er updates that I get. So yeah, I don't like to talk junk about my team or about any other team. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. That's all I got to say.
Now, K Walk, I'm calling you out because you be talking junk about my team. Okay, well,
I don't know. I
close
do.
enough. It's
I
close
know. I
enough.
don't. Yeah. Right.
You know, us Phillies fans, we sensitive. We sensitive. No, we're
Okay, well, ain't disagreeing with that.
Yeah, no, not at all.
No, we're not. Now, Cowboys fans, they a little sensitive.
They are. They are.
They when you crying at the last season, you sensitive.
They're emotional. Emotional.
Jay, you're a temporary Cowboys fan, so I can't say you're sensitive. Look, you
Yeah.
don't even got the Cowboys gear on. See, he came out representing the 49ers. He's ready to go. You came out with Penn
That's
State.
one of the nice things about having a temporary team. You know, like you don't really live and die with it. You feel good if they win, but if they lose, it's okay. So
Move on to the next
nice thing. Yeah, it really is. It's a good
That
place
is-
to be.
That is true. But what I will say is I have to give Dak Prescott and the Cowboys their proper respect because they did what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about the NFL just yet. We're going to get into that a little bit later in the show. I want to start off with the NBA guys. And I want to start off with Jay. I almost said your whole government name, Jay. You know, it's about to get serious. I want to start off with Jay's Brooklyn Nets. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. Ever since Kevin Durant has been out with an injury, the Nets have lost back-to-back games against Boston and OKC. And OKC is they're not slouches. They're a good team. Ben Simmons played in the game against the Celtics, but missed the game against OKC. In the Boston game, Simmons scored only 0 points. 13 assists and 9 rebounds. The Nets ended up losing 92-103 against Boston. The last time we spoke, I don't know if you guys can recall, the last time we spoke about the Nets, y'all felt Simmons did not have to score more on the offensive side of the ball, okay,
Guilty,
to help this team. So I'm going to ask you again, now that KD is out, because I said the last time we spoke, when KD is out, how I felt. I'm asking you again, does Simmons need to do more offensively scoring to help this team get over the hump while Kevin Durant is out? Jay, I'm going to come to you first.
So here's the thing. Like, I think last week I said I'd like to see him score a little bit more, but I think if you're coming into the game thinking Ben's going to get you 25, that's probably not realistic for where he's at right now in his game. But if he can get you 12 to 14, along with the rebounds and the assists, I think that's really all you can ask of Ben right now. But to go out and score 0 points against the Celtics, I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous. There was a long stretch in that game where he wouldn't even take a shot.
Right.
So I think he's got to be aggressive. He's got to shoot the ball. He's got to try to get to the basket, whether it goes in or not. Force the issue a little bit. If he can get 12 to 14, 10, 12 assists, 10 rebounds, I think that's a great game for Ben because he does affect the game in a lot of different ways other than just scoring the basketball. But I really don't think he's the reason why they lost those 2 games. Kyrie only had 15 against the Thunder. That's clearly not enough. And even guys like TJ Warren, I think he was under double figures in that game against the Thunder as well. So some of those other guys are going to have to score the basketball a little bit. I don't know if it's realistic to ask Ben to go out and get 20 a night right now. His game's just not there at this point in time.
So what I said last week as a reminder, I said Ben was averaging less than 10 points a game, which he is. I had to look it up just to make sure I was right. 7.5. Mm-hmm. I said he needs to up that to at least 12 to 15 points, which is reasonable for a guy like him. That's not unrealistic.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at that Boston game where he had 0 points, he did not want to take shots. He had a wide open layup. Lord, this is reminding me of that Sixers Atlanta game that he gave up. He gave it up. Once again, you got a wide open lane. If you would have scored 12 points, there's your victory right there, just by giving a little bit more effort on the offensive side of the ball. What that does is that takes pressure off the other role players surrounding you. Now, you could potentially have more positive basket versus more missed basket. Now, that's just hindsight. We don't know that for sure. But my point is him being more aggressive. But for here on out, in my opinion, I think why KD is out, he has to. No, I'll knock it down. 10 to 12. Just give me 10 to 12 points a game. Why KD is out. That's very reasonable. Okay, well, what are your thoughts? Because you was getting on me last week.
Yeah, I felt like he didn't have to be that scorer. I thought that, whatever he was given at the time, I believe you said it was under 10.7 points. I thought that if he gave that maybe, 1 or 2, maybe 3 points more, that would have been enough because I felt like Kyrie would step up his game. Warren would step up his game. Seth Curry would step up his game as well to compensate for the absence of KD. I just don't think that Ben Simmons is a scorer. I don't think he's gonna get more than 15 points, and that's stretching it. That's really stretching it, in my opinion. I thought that the numbers that you mentioned, I think he had 9 assists, 10 rebounds. I forget the exact number that you gave. I think that, and what he does that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, what he does on the defensive end as well. I thought that that's what he needed to do. If those other guys aren't scoring, then yeah, Ben Simmons has to be more aggressive. But I think Ben Simmons is kind of waiting for those guys to be those guys. He knows his role. And I think his role is to just be the facilitator, be the rebounder, be the defensive guy, and then let all those other guys that we mentioned be the scorers. So, yeah, 0 points. Now, that's a totally different animal there. I mean, you got to score something. You got to contribute something there, from an offensive standpoint as far as putting the ball in the basket. I mean, even if you only scored 5 to 10 points, then I think that would have been, then you couldn't really come down on it. But for him to not score any points and to be shy or be, passive aggressive, if you will, as far as not taking any shots there, that's unacceptable, especially with KD out and those other guys not stepping up as well. So I definitely agree with you there. I'm still going to stick to what I said last week, is that Ben Simmons doesn't have to really step his scoring game up. Just continue to give what he's been averaging throughout the year, but we do have to have, the Nets do have to have Kyrie step up his game, Warren, Seth as well. So that's how I feel about that.
And K-Walk, I think one of the interesting things about role players is that they're used to being role players.
Exactly.
Like they might have a great night one night and then just go back to being very average. So when you're kind of relying on these guys to provide production every single night, it kind of forces those guys out of their comfort zone. So I think that's the tough part for the Nets. You're asking guys that are used to getting 10 or 12 consistently, and then maybe one night they'll go out and get you 20. Now we're looking for those 20 every single night from those guys. I'm just not sure they can do that every single night. So the Nets are in a tough spot right now.
So, Jay, I agree with you when that comes in regards to a Seth Curry, when that comes in regards to a TJ Warren, when that comes in regards to a Joe Harris. But the expectation is different for a Ben Simmons. Yeah. And that's the thing. I understand he is what he is. He chooses to be what he is. When he was with the Sixers, that was our same argument on here. But at least with us, and granted, it was only Joel Embiid and then him. He had maybe more opportunities. This is his opportunity now that Kevin Durant is out. And that's what I'm trying to explain. He's a star player on that team who can score the ball, but he has to look to score the ball. He has to look to be aggressive. So a lot of the same things that was going on in Philadelphia is now going to happen. It's starting to happen here in Brooklyn. KD is not going to always be healthy. KD is getting older. Let's be honest, he's starting to have these weak knees. This is his second straight year and hurting his knees. So they need somebody like the third star on the team, and Ben Simmons to step up his game offensively. I'm not asking him to go out score 25 to 30 points, 15 points. That's very reasonable for a guy of his capabilities. This guy is 6'10", 230 something pounds, or 240, something like that. You can just walk down to the rim and get in the basket. Nobody can stop you on that side of the ball. They can't stop him, but he just has to be aggressive. And again, it comes back to his mindset. But all right, we're going to move on, guys. We talked about the Nets. I'm getting tired of talking about the Nets, to be honest with you. Just figured I glowed a little bit on my point from letting. No, I'm just kidding. Last week. But all right, guys. So we're going to head over to football because it is the NFL playoffs going on right now. We are going to talk about some of the results a little bit later. Hope it might tie into this next topic that we're going on. But I really want to get into the divisional round predictions because we got some exciting games coming up this weekend. Finally, the wild card weekend, we had some good games and then we had some okay games. This weekend, I think every game is a competitive game. It's going to be an interesting game. Let's start off with the AFC. The first one, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Kansas City Chiefs. They play this Saturday at 4:30 p.m. I think it's 4:30. It might be a little bit later. I could have got that wrong. Who do you think is going to win this game? K-Walk, I'm coming to you first.
Yeah, I'm going to go with pretty much the consensus on this. At least I like to think it's the consensus, and that's the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, you got them as a favorite to win it all right now. They're at home against a team that I don't want to say snuck in. You know, they won their division handily, and the way that they won the game last week against San Diego. Wow, against Los Angeles Chargers. So we'll definitely dive into that later. But yeah, I think I'm going to take the Chiefs here. I just think they have everything that they need. It's going to be a high scoring game because I do think that the weakness of the Chiefs is their defense. I think you could put some points up on the board, and I think that they'll do that. I think Doug Peterson will do that with Trevor Lawrence and all of those guys that I mentioned before with with Zay Jones, Evan Ingram, and NTN as well. So I see this being a high scoring game, but I still see the Chiefs winning this nonetheless because you can't go against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and the way they dial up plays, and especially at home right now. And they're coming. They have a week off. They had a week off, so they're really prepared. They know what they're going to do. They're going to have fun doing it. Hopefully they don't do it so much where I feel like it's disrespecting the game, but I think they get the job done, in my opinion. So I got the Chiefs 31-24 in this one.
Yeah, I think I'm in complete agreement. Look, like I said, I love Dougie P. What he did for the city of Philadelphia, I will always support him forever. Trevor Lawrence, he's finally getting to the point where we all thought he would become the star quarterback. We thought he would become after coming out of Clemson. He has let's be serious. He has a head coach that cares, first of all, and cares about his development. That last coach, no. But ETN is talented. Zay Jones, right? Yeah.
Zay Jones, yes.
Is an amazing young receiver.
Yeah.
Christian Kirk is doing well. This is a different team that we have seen, a different Jaguars team that we have seen in years past, and they're coming fast. But you're going up against Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. On the defensive side, they still have Chris Jones. I think he was just named PFF's Defensive Player of the Year. What the heck does that mean? I have no idea. I don't necessarily agree with that, but hey, they named him that. He is a great player. But I am absolutely going with the Chiefs. I just can't see this Jaguars defense stopping that somehow amazing Chiefs offense. Hey, Tyreek Hill left, and Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes.
Did you say that was a? Did you say a PFF award or a BFF award? I'm sorry. I mean to cut you off. I just had to ask that question. That's what it sounded like to me. But
you said BFF or BS?
BFF, like best friend forever.
Okay. slash BS award. But no, dang, okay, well, you just threw me the heck off.
Sorry about that.
But no, yeah, Chiefs is going to win. You just threw my whole point out here.
My bad.
Chiefs is going to win. I think it's going to be, I'm going to say 28-20. Jay, who you got?
My bad.
Look, the Jags played about the worst first half you could play last week. I don't think we're going to see a repeat of that. It's almost like they kind of got the clunker out of the way and still found a way to win that football game. I think their defense is pretty good. I mean, when they had to get stops, they went out and got them. So now, can they slow that Chiefs offense down? I don't know. But I do think, to K-Walk's point, the Chiefs' weakness on defense, the Jags, the Jags are going to be able to score some points, I think. Trevor Lawrence is playing with a lot of confidence. I do think this game will be maybe closer than some people think, but I do think at home, I'm not going to pick against the Chiefs at home. Patrick Mahomes, give me the Chiefs 38-31.
Especially if they keep doing that daggone shovel pass that other teams are trying to copy, and it don't work when other teams do it. It does not work.
Right.
But I'm in agreement with you, K-Walk, also. Just don't make a mockery of the game. I understand you want to have your recess time or whatever. You're having fun. Just play football. We don't need all that unnecessary stuff.
Seriously.
But guys, all right. So now we're going to go to our next AFC game. We're going to do the Bengals at the Bills, which is this Sunday at 3 p.m. Jay, I'm coming to you first because this is going to be a great game. Who do you have?
Yeah, this is a tough one. This is a really tough one because I want to pick Cincinnati in this game. I really do. But at Buffalo is tough. And, Josh Allen against Joe Burrow, two top flight quarterbacks. Obviously the Bills with everything with DeMar Hamlin, you feel like, maybe if you believe in this kind of stuff, that maybe they're a team of destiny this year. There're just so many little storylines with Buffalo. Yeah. Cincinnati did not look great this past weekend. I think if they play the way they did against Baltimore, there's no way they're going to beat the Bills. But I kind of feel like Cincinnati's going to have a bounce back this weekend. They're going to play a lot better. Joe Burrow will be really good in the clutch. I'm going to take the Bengals to beat the Bills at home, 24-20. Give me Cincinnati.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting, fun, competitive game. You got Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. That's a dynamic offense. On the other side, of course, as we know, we have Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis. Who's their running back? Not coming to my head right now.
Singletary.
Thank you. Yeah. Evan Singletary. Thank you.
And Moss as well.
Yes. Here's the thing. I'm going with the Bills as long as Josh Allen doesn't feel like he needs to play hero ball. I think they got in trouble against the Dolphins when he didn't want to go to the simple play, make the simple pass. He always wanted to throw it down low. That's why we had 1 or 2 picks last game, something like that. Mm-hmm. Just because he was trying to play hero ball. He was trying to get it down the field too fast. Relax. You're fantastic offense. Go with the simple pass. Go to the wide open receiver versus trying to go downfield to get a touchdown or a score fast. Relax. But it's not going to be an easy game against the Cincinnati because Joe Burrow, I think they're the hottest offense heading into the playoffs. They struggled a little bit this past weekend, but they'll get back on track. And this Bengals offense is going to be tough for this Bills defense. Jamar Chase is a monster. I don't care what anybody say. This is his second year, I believe. That kid is a monster. And then you got T. Higgins. They're probably the best duo, one of the best duos in this league right now. Outside of course, the Dolphins, the Eagles, and a couple other teams, of course. I'm going to shoot the 49ers in there because they've been playing pretty well. But I'm going with the Bills. I'm going to say 28-24 Bills. Okay, well, who you got?
Yeah, I mean everything you guys mentioned. Both of these teams struggled last week. Bengals. I mean, obviously you do that. Especially with divisional opponents in the playoffs. It's going to be tougher than the regular season. Obviously, the Bengals and the Ravens. The Bengals needed that 99, 98-yard fumble recovery in order to pretty much seal that game. But they were kind of questionable on that defensive side of the ball, meaning the Bengals, especially with a banged-up backup quarterback in Huntley. He actually played pretty well. I thought they got away from the Ravens. I thought they got away from J.K. Dobbins on that particular play. Because had they ran the ball to him, I thought they would have got in for sure. So that was kind of questionable. So I'm not too high on the Bengals right now. But then on the other side of the ball, you got the Bills as well, who struggle with a third-string quarterback as well. And you mentioned, Britt, you alluded to it, and that's exactly where I was going to go to it, is Josh Allen has to start allowing everybody or getting everyone involved in the game and not just put it on himself. We know you're a great player, Josh. We know you're a great player. We know you can get it done. But like Britne said, you don't have to do all of that. All you have to do, you got a great receiver in Stephon Diggs. You got a great guy in Davis and Knox. And Britne mentioned Singletary and Moss as well. I mean, you got weapons there. There's no question about that. And you got a good defense. And I believe that the Bengals lost one of their offensive linemen to a knee injury in the game against the Ravens as well. So they're going to be able to put pressure on Joe Burrow. I know that offensive line wasn't the greatest to begin with. To keep that in mind. So with all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take the Bengals here in a close one. I'm going to take them 27-24.
Oh, you took
the Bengals? You took the Bengals?
I took the Bengals. The Bengals.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Did I break it up? I'm sorry.
I thought you were going to the Bills.
Yeah.
So did I.
Once you said that O-line, I thought, okay.
Yeah, with all that being said, I'm still taking the Bengals 27-24. I just think Josh Allen is just going to try to do too much, do more than he has to do.
I got you.
Yeah, I think that's what kills him. Even last year, if you look at the game last year, I feel like the same thing. He just tries to play too much hero ball, and you don't need to do that with the team that you have surrounding you. But I will say the Bengals definitely should have lost that game this past weekend. What was I forgot his name already?
Not the
running back.
Oh,
the quarterback, Huntley. Thank you, Jason.
Huntley. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know what. I'm sorry. I don't mean to go off track here, but I don't know what the heck he was thinking trying to go over the top, and you're at like the 2.5-yard line. That is way too far. Give it to your running back. Let him run it up the gut.
That's Greg Roman. Greg Roman made that call.
Or even if it's a quarterback sneak, don't go over the top. It looked like, if you look guys through that hole, it looked like his offensive line had that pushed.
Yeah.
I agree, Britt. When I first saw it, I said, number one, I didn't feel like they were close enough to really go for the QB sneak, number one. And then number two, and you're seeing it all around the league, not just with the Ravens. You have these running backs on your team, and you won't turn around and handle the ball. I get it. The quarterback sneak, it works a lot. They get behind you. They push. Great. But, man, you're paying these running backs, and you won't even turn around and handle the ball and trust that they can get you a yard or two. So, But I agree, Britt. You're right. He should not have tried to go over the top. I think if he stays low, he probably gets in. But just a bonehead play all the way around.
Yeah.
Exactly. At least live to see another down.
If
you don't get it, live to see another down. And by the way, Jay, I blame the Eagles for that because we like the masterminds of that 1-2 yard sneak, and I get so nervous when they do it. But all right, speaking of that, we're gonna switch over to the NFC game. So our first one, we're gonna go the New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles this Saturday at 8:15. Oh, primetime game, nice. Jay, I'm gonna come to you first because I just feel like you're gonna say something out of the box for some odd reason. Who you got?
It's funny. It's funny you say that, but I was looking at some stuff on social media, and somebody said that the Eagles Giants game was the JV game, and Cowboys 49ers is the varsity game on Sunday, but I didn't say that. That's just what somebody said. But no, look, number one, this weekend was really the first time I sat down and watched the Giants play 4 quarters of football. I was impressed. I think they have a good team, and Daniel Jones at quarterback, after a lot of questions over the years, he's actually playing really well, or at least he played really well last weekend. One thing I don't like, though, I feel like they're running this guy too much. Like, if you want to get Daniel Jones hurt, keep calling these design run plays for him. There is no longevity in that. I couldn't understand why the Giants continue to run him. I think he had 17 rushes, some designed, obviously, and some that he just ended up running, but that's way too many for Daniel Jones. But look, I think the Giants have had a good season. As you've mentioned several times, Britt, Dable, the coach, has done an outstanding job. But I think their season ends against Philadelphia. I find it really hard to believe that they're going to go into Philly and beat the Eagles. It's just not going to happen. Jalen Hurts, that Eagles offense, too explosive. That defensive front on Philly, really hard to run the football against them. I know Saquon has kind of found a second life with the Giants, but I just don't know that he's going to be able to run it consistently against that Eagles front. So I think the Eagles win this game. I like Philly like 31-17.
Ooh, wow. K-Walk?
Yeah, I have to agree with Jay there. I mean, I do get to watch. I watch every game, to be honest with you, but I do get to watch a little bit more Giants games because I do put it on one TV and it's the local game, so I put it on that particular TV. But yeah, I mean, I picked them to win last week. I picked the Giants to win, so I wasn't really surprised that they won the game. I'm just surprised at the way that they won the game, and Daniel Jones throwing for over 300 yards and rushing for over 70 yards. That's where I was most surprised at. And again, I picked the Giants because I just flipped the coin and said, what Vikings team are we going to see? The coin came down and said, we're going to see the Vikings team that we saw against the Cowboys. And that's what they showed up. They made 0 adjustments in that game in the second half. And the Giants say, okay, you know what? You're going to keep giving this to us? We're going to keep taking it. And that's what they did. You know, they ran the ball, they threw the ball. And they did whatever they wanted to do on the defensive end. I'm on the offensive side of the ball. So yeah, I wasn't really surprised with that. But with all that being said, I don't see them repeating that because I think they're facing an Eagles team who has a good defense. Or a great defense. I'm not going to, because I don't want the Philly fans to come at me, man. I mean, this is a hard pick for me because I know a ton of Philly fans, Eagles fans, and I know a ton of Giants fans. So, and I know they're watching right now. They're sitting on this and waiting. What is K Walk? Who is he going to pick? And no matter who I pick, I'm a hater. So it's a no win for me.
It will come out and attack you for no reason.
Yeah, exactly. It's a no win for me. So with all that being said, I mean, I think that week off for the Eagles is going to help them tremendously because of the fact of the matter is they needed to get healthy right now. They need to get healthy. They have some guys that really needed that week off for sure. And as a fan in me, I you know what? I'm gonna play both sides of the fence here. You know what? I'm not gonna put myself in a no-lose situation. Let me flip this. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm picking the Eagles to win this game, but I want the Giants to win this game. Does that make sense? Okay, because of the fact of the matter is if the Giants win and the 49ers win, 49ers get home field advantage in the NFC Championship. So let me flip that. So, but I am picking the Eagles to win the game, but I'm rooting for the Giants. Can I play both sides of the field there? Or fence there?
Yeah, I can't. Right. Look, I can't get mad at you. If I was the 49ers, I would want the Giants to win too. No, I think this is going to be a tighter game than what most people think. This will be the third time they play each other in the last 6-7 weeks. The last game we played was against the Giants, albeit it was against their backups. Right. Albeit, the Eagles played a very vanilla offense. Jalen Hurts didn't use his legs at all, and you can see the big difference. I do think the Eagles will win, but that is predicated on health. I think that's the biggest thing. Yeah. How will Jalen Hurts feel during the course of this game? Will he be willing to take off and run when he needs to? Lane Johnson, Do you guys know the record of when Lane Johnson is out? He's 9-22. Or I'm sorry, the Eagles are 9-22 when Lane Johnson is out.
Is he playing this week?
He is playing.
He is playing.
He said, I am playing this week, but we don't know how he's going to be able to manage his pain. He did tear his groin muscle. And I'm pretty sure the opposition understands that. I'm pretty sure they're going to try to attack him in certain areas, whether you think it's a cheap shot or not. That's what they're going to do.
Hey, when that pile up, come on, there's going to be some chicken wings thrown up in there.
Exactly. But the one thing I will say I like about Lane Johnson is he's one tough mother. That's all I'm going to say. Y'all can finish the rest. He's one tough person. We got kids watching the show. I don't care. But no, I think all in all, if the Eagles come out healthy, if the Eagles play like they're supposed to play, I think they will win. I have to give credit to the Giants. I've told y'all for a long time, I think Brian Daboll is the coach of the year. I love Nick Sirianni. I love Kyle Shanahan. I love Doug Peterson. But what Brian Daboll has done with this Giants organization to me is amazing. And mind you, it's not that many different players from last year to this player. Last year they had Joe Judge. They played bad, terrible. Same players this year. And actually, Kenny Galloway actually got worse this year. And look where they're at. They just beat the Vikings. And I agree with you, K-Walk, with the Vikings. I went with the Giants too. It was no surprise to me at all. I completely went with the Giants. The Vikings defense is terrible, and they showed that. But I'm going with the Eagles. I'm going to say 24-20. I think it would be a 4-point victory. It's a division matchup. They know each other very well.
I don't know if I gave my score for that. I'm going Eagles 23-20, just to throw that out there.
Close
so
one.
3-4 points.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The only blowout was Jay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
All right, guys. So this is y'all teams now. K-Walks. Now he's a true 49ers fan, passionate about his team. Jay, he became a Cowboys fan this year. He'll probably be a different team next year. After next week, we'll see. I'm sorry, this week we'll see. Mm-hmm. But we got the Dallas Cowboys at the San Fran 49ers. I'm excited about this one. I can't stand neither team, to be honest with you. This Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Who you got? I guess I will go first, and I'll let y'all two go after me. This is going to be a good matchup, guys. This is going to be tough. So this is what I will say. The 49ers had the Seattle Seahawks. We knew they was going to blow them out. I give Seattle Seahawks credit for being competitive in that first half, but that was about it. Geno Smith turned that ball over, I think, early in the third. Momentum completely shifted. Tampa Bay, whatever. That was just bad. Tom Brady, we'll talk about him in a second. Yeah. This game, I'm going to give my predictions real quick and make this fast. I'm going to go with the 49ers primarily because of their defense. Brock Purdy has been playing great. I think as long as Kyle Shanahan keeps it simple, you got the playmakers, Christian McCaffrey, Samuel Debo Samuel. I always do that backwards. Debo Samuels, Brandon Ayuk, so forth. They just go on and do their thing. I just think that the Cowboys went into Tampa Bay. They're not that great of a team. I give Cowboys all the credit. They played fantastic. Some of Dak Prescott's best ball I've seen him play ever. But you're going up against the stout 49ers. DeMeco Ryans will have this 49ers defense ready to go. But I still think it's going to be a pretty close game. I'm going to say 27-24. I really think it's going to be a close, exciting football game. At least that's what I'm hoping for. And in the 49ers advance. Jay, who you got winning this game?
Look, the Cowboys played great last night. That was one of the most complete, disciplined kind of games. And that's what they need to do if they're going to have any chance against a team like the 49ers. When you look at San Fran, when I look at the way they played against Seattle, early in that game, first half of that game, I thought Brock Purdy missed some guys that were open, just overthrows. I thought he was late on some throws where guys were open. And, I think in a really close game, I don't know that you can get away with that, right? Obviously, they're better than Seattle. They were able to overcome it. In a really close game, if he kind of misses some guys and is late on some throws, can you get away with that? I don't know, but Britt, I think at the end of the day, it kind of goes back to the point you said. Two things. Number one, I think San Francisco's defense is just too good. They're just really good play. They're just a really good defense. And then when you look at the offense, the weapons, I mean, they just have weapons everywhere. And it's not just about the weapons, but it's how they use the weapons. I don't think there's a team in the NFL that gets the most out of their guys in a variety of ways. I mean, Debo will line up wide one play, he'll be a tailback the next play. All the stuff they do with McCaffrey, obviously the tight end is phenomenal. I mean, they just get the most out of everything that they have. And I just think that's going to be too much for Dallas in the end. And if I think about just consistency, if I think about which team is more likely to make a critical mistake, I think Dallas is that team that's more likely to make a mistake that could lose them the football game. So at home, I got San Fran. I'll be rooting for Dallas. I'll be cheering Dallas on. But I think San Fran wins this game. I don't even know that it's going to be as close as people think. I got San Fran 38 and Dallas 24.
Okay, not bad. But that's what I would say. My 3 points was the I think I said 27-24 final.
Mhm. Yeah.
I really think San Fran may score a little bit more, but I'm gonna say 27-24 because I think I'm underestimating Dallas just a little bit. Is those 3 points that the kicker will miss?
I ain't never seen nothing like that.
Those are those.
I thought he had money on the game the way he was kicking.
Well, seriously, man.
Those going to be those 3 points. If they don't get rid of that kicker,
points.
they don't get rid of that kicker. Those are those 3 points right there. But K-Walk, this is your team. This is really your team. You're passionate about the 49ers. Who you got?
Yeah, I just wish. Remember back in the day, you had those blank tapes, and you had the one person that got the new tape that came out, and you wanted to dub it. That's what I want to do with Jay. I want a high speed dub with Jay. Everything that Jay just said. That's what to copy everything Jay just said. But yeah, all seriousness aside, yeah, I mean, I'm very nervous about this game, as I am every game, and then I just think that it comes down to Brock Purdy. I seen the way that the Cowboys were getting after the quarterback. I know it was a 45-year-old Tom Brady last night, and he really couldn't do anything. So they bent their ears back and say, "Let's go get this guy," because I know he can't move. He won't step up in the pocket. If he does, then all he's going to do is just fall to the ground, preserve himself. But for the most part, Tom Brady looked like he was out there just on a lake skipping rocks, man. I mean, when he was throwing the ball to those receivers. But I'm hoping that they come after Brock Purdy. He's been defended in so many different ways. I mean, you name it. Zone blitzes, straight blitzes, sending 4, sending 5, straight up man. And Jay mentioned, in a tight one. I think what ultimately is going to happen is, they're going to see what the first half is. That's what the 49ers love to do. Is they adjust. They do a great job of adjusting in game and especially at halftime. And that's when they were down 17-16 going into the half, coming out of the half, they knew what they knew what Pete Carroll, not Dan Quinn, I forget he's at what you call him now. But that defense wanted to do against Brock Purdy to throw him off. But what Kyle does is he does a great job of scheming guys open. He doesn't necessarily have to rely on Brock Purdy just throwing, getting that ball there. He schemes guys to get open to make the throw easier for Brock Purdy. So that's what I think he's going to do ultimately. But with all that being said, man, I'm very scared the way Dak looked last night. I mean, if he plays the way he played last night against the 49ers, even with that great 49ers defense, they're going to get rid of the ball quick. But the difference is I think the 49ers have good linebackers and they like to get deep too. But I'm gonna make this a close one as well. I think it's going to be a high scoring game, to be honest with you. But I will keep it close. I got the 49ers 33-28 here. Go Niners. Bang bang Niner game.
Not too bad, but K-Walk, I need you to say it one more time before we move on.
Bang bang Niner game. He's so. I hope he is. I hope he's going to be so Purdy. I hope he's going to be Purdy. So pretty.
Here we go.
I hope.
So pretty. Jay, you got one for the Cowboys? No. No, okay. Let's move on.
No,
Wow.
we got boys. We got boys. How about them Cowboys? We got all kind of little Cowboys.
All right,
fans.
go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
I give it to you. Say
I'm not going to do
say
it.
it one more time. One more
I ain't
time.
doing it. No, I'm not
Okay.
going to.
All right, so we got a couple more topics, then we're going to head into break. We got to talk about it, guys, because the GOAT, he ain't look too much like the GOAT. he looked like a lamb. He looked like a sheep.
Oh, man.
And it wasn't the GOAT at the last night. But the Bucks lose to the Cowboys, as we all know, 14-31 in the wild card round of the NFL playoffs. And hopefully this will be the last time I'm asking this question, will Tom Brady officially retire for good after that performance? K-Walk, I'm going to come to you first on this.
I'm going to say no. I think he comes back. I think he makes another run out of it. I don't think he wants to go out with a losing record. He's just too competitive. I think he gives it one more, one more run. I don't know. Is it going to be with Tampa Bay? That's the $1 million question. Or maybe it's the $500,000 question. I guess the $1 million question is the one you're asking. Will he retire? So I'm going to say he doesn't retire. He comes back. But that remains a $500,000 question. Will he be with the Bucks, or will he be elsewhere? I'm going to say he's going to come back, obviously, and I think he comes back with the Bucks. I think they do a good job of getting guys around him, especially on that offensive line, and especially on the defensive side of the ball as well. He makes one more run at it.
Jay, I'm going to come to you next.
K-Walk earlier said it looked like Brady was skipping rocks, and it's true. Like, that's what it looked
offensive
like.
Offensive line.
That's what happens when you get old and your reflexes just aren't the same.
He's not going out like that.
You're kind of getting the ball away as fast as you can, but it just looks bad. And look, I said, K-Walk, I said this man was going to fall off a cliff this year, and I think he has. I mean, if you really look at it, terrible this entire year.
I agree.
A good game here or there, but for the most part, he's been just downright awful. Now, to answer your question, Britt, I don't think he's going to retire. I think he wants to come back and play more football. I don't think it's necessarily going to be in Tampa Bay, but I do think he's going to play again next year, although someone needs to tell him, Tom, it's time to sit down, let it go. It's over. But, the great ones are always the last to know. They're always the last to know. So he'll play again, although I don't think he should.
No, I agree. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I said he will return, but I don't feel like he should not return if I did not state that.
Yeah.
I will say this, and I know we all know this, but you lost your wife for what? Is that too cold to say? Is that too cold to say? That's too much.
Maybe we don't know.
Yeah.
We just don't know what it is.
This is what we were. This is. I don't know how to say this, but Tom Brady played so bad last night. Oh my goodness! I think this is probably the worst game of his entire career, even since he was a rookie. Like you said, K-Walk looked like he was skipping rocks. Mm-hmm. He literally was throwing receivers short about 5 yards. 5 yards. And then I hear the commentators say, oh, Dallas linebackers hit the ball. Dallas linebacker was nowhere near the ball. It's like, now we're trying to make excuses because he's Tom Brady.
Yeah.
These little out routes, he missed his receivers by 2 yards. Like, it's so bad. That touchdown, which to me changed the complete momentum because they were still right in it in that first half. You're on a 2-3 yard line, something like that. He looked like he got scared and just tossed the ball in the air. The Tom Brady we know does not get scared in those moments. He's like, I'm going to take a sack. I'm going to throw the ball away. If there's nobody open, I'm going to live to see another down. His decision-making is great. I don't know what's going on. I guess as you get older, they really do say things slow down. The way your mind process things really start to slow down. And that's what we've seen with Tom Brady. Tom Brady should absolutely retire. I think I'm with you guys after listening to you guys. I was going to say no, he's going to retire, but he might actually come back. And it's unfortunate because you got a big fat contract waiting for you go get to that contract with that broadcasting, and try to get your
Seriously.
family back, because this was not worth it. This season was not worth everything. It really wasn't. I'm sorry. But Tom, if you ever want to come on this show, we still love you. But no, yeah, I think he should retire. Unfortunately, I don't think he will retire. But I want to get you guys real quick because we got to move on. Your thoughts on, and K Walk, I know you mentioned it. We talked about it previously. There has been rumblings that he must go home, and San Fran is his home. What do you think of that? And you know, it's Tom Brady. He speaks, things will get done. Anybody go.
This is kind of my rant, guys. So I'm going to say, yeah, Jay, go ahead. That's my rant.
I'll jump in here, K Walk. Hopefully I'm not going to say all the things you're going to say later.
It's okay if you do. It's okay if you do.
I don't understand it. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. Tom, when you look at the quarterbacks that are successful in San Francisco's offense, Tom Brady does not fit the bill. Like, I don't think he would have fit the bill 10 years ago, 15 years ago. They want somebody that can move the pocket a little bit, and he can't. That's never been a strength of his game. So to get him now at 45, why? Like, I don't understand that at all. So if he's interested in San Fran, they should politely say no, thank you. That would be a step backwards.
I agree with you, Jay, and I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want to go too far with this because it walks right. All right, guys, we're going to move on. We are halfway through the NBA season. The All-Star game or All-Star weekend is fast approaching in a few weeks. With that being said, as of right now, it may change later, but as of right now, who do you think is the best NBA team right now? I will go first on this one. I'm going to say, I said the same team last year. I'm going to say the Boston Celtics. I just felt like last year they were just inexperienced. They were too young to really be ready to win a championship. And you went up against a very experienced, veteran-led, well-oiled machine, as we have all said, Warriors team, and we've seen that. I think the Boston Celtics is the best team right now. Jason Tatum is on an MVP year. He's playing very well on both sides of the basketball. And complimentary, you got Jaylen Brown, Malcolm Brogdon, who I don't understand, but a lot of people don't even know who he was. Who is great coming off the bench for him. Robert Williams has upped his game. Defensively, this team, I think they're top in the league as of right now. They had a couple hiccups, which is going to happen. It's an 82-game season. It's going to happen. But all in all, this team is an all-around complete team. I can't. It's hard to say bad thing unless they come out with low energy and they get blown out by whoever they got blown out. Was it OKC? OKC has been blowing everybody out. It's just crazy. And then right behind them, if I had to choose a number two, I know the Nuggets are number one on the other side. I don't trust the Nuggets, especially when it comes to playoff time. I don't trust them just yet. I like the Grizzlies. I really like this Grizzlies team. John Morant is exciting. Desmond Bain, their coach, they're a very young team. They're coached very well. And then you can never leave the Warriors out. But for me right now, I'm going to go with the Boston Celtics. Jay, I'm coming to you first. Who do you think is the best team right now?
Yeah, Britt, I had it narrowed down to a couple of ball clubs. I was thinking about going with Boston, but I'm honestly going to go with the team you said you didn't trust. I think the Nuggets have been sort of on the come up over the last few years. And now, look, especially with the way that Jokic is playing, look, I don't know. Like, I think they have the best record, or they're a game away from having the best record. So I just think at this point in the year, they're playing the best basketball. Now, would I pick them to win the championship? Probably not, because sometimes to win an NBA championship, you've got to go through some things, and I don't know that they've kind of taken all the steps. But I think right now, I would probably go with the Denver Nuggets.
Okay, what?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you here, Britt. I'm going to go with the Boston Celtics here. They're number one record, best record in the league right now. 7-game winning streak, like you mentioned, Tatum. So I'm going to say Boston Celtics.
It's great. By the way, guys, If y'all heard a clicking sound, that's my bad. That's me clicking.
Oh.
I was wondering. I was texting like, "Do y'all hear something clicking, or am I just going
I'm looking
crazy?"
around. I hear you.
So when I think my mic's not working, apparently it works because it's all the way over here. But anyway, all right. So guys, before we head into break, I have a fun question. I know I didn't tell you this, guys, because I like to learn more about when you guys played during your D1 games, if you guys can remember. That was not a shot, by the way. That was not a shot. But I really want to know, what was the biggest hit you have ever taken or made, or what was the biggest hit you have ever made? Because I know, Jay, you were a DB. That made you rethink the game of football just for a few moments, just for a few seconds. K-Walk, since you did the
K-Walk is easy.
I'm gonna go with you, K-Walk, first.
I'm still rubbing my chest on this. So this. Oh my goodness, this was my first year at Temple, my junior year at Temple. We were playing Miami in the Orange Bowl, and good gracious, I caught a screen pass. It was a screen pass, and I thought we had it blocked well. I thought we had it designed very well. But number 52, some of you guys may have heard of this guy, Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis blew it up. Blew me up. I tell you one thing, man. I still remember 35,000 fans going, ooh. And I just said, you know what? I am not going to allow this to end my career. I popped up, man. I popped up, and I went right back to the huddle. And you know what? Whew. Every time I hear that name, Ray Lewis, I rub my chest, ladies and gentlemen. I rub my chest. Hardest hit I've ever taken by far.
Jay?
It's funny because I remember this. It didn't make me rethink the game, but it's the only hit that I realized that I kind of hurt myself a little. We were playing Michigan State, the last game of our undefeated 94 season, last regular season game before the bowl game. I don't even know who the running back was, but they threw it to him like on a little toss sweep. And I came up from my safety position and just hit him as hard as I could. And K-Walk, just like you, it was one of those where the crowd goes, "Ooh!" But I was immediately concussed. Like I had a headache. Immediately got a headache. Got up because that's just what we did back then, right? But I had to set the defense after we break the huddle, call open right, open left, the strength of the offense. And I'm calling it the wrong way. I'm like, open left. And my guys are looking at me like, no, it's open right. But I was just so out of it from the hit that I was calling the wrong stuff. Man, I remember it like it was yesterday. Great hit, but I think I probably took the worst of it. It looked good on film, but my head was hurting, man, for days after that one.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
The biggest hit I've ever taken. Wait, I didn't play football, so never mind.
I thought you were going to say a screen with a screen. You were going through a screen and you got elbowed or a shoulder.
Oh, you're talking about basketball? I was actually a kid. Okay, since we're gonna go to basketball, I was actually a kid, and I was going on a fast break. And it was a player in front of me from the opposing team and a player next to me. Somehow the player in front of me stuck their foot out. I don't know if they did it on purpose. So I tripped over their foot. And as I'm falling, the player behind me bumps into me, all like face first into the hardwood floor. Boom. All you hear the crowd is saying, "Oh." So yeah, that same reaction. But I jumped up, kept going like it was nothing. So there you go. That was my,
there you go.
Although that was a different sport. But that was my biggest hit, I guess you could say. All right, guys. So we're going to take our break now. Jay's going to take over. We're going to have some more fun. So make sure you stay tuned. Please subscribe, share, like our channel, The Sideline Speaks. We are on the road to reach 250 subscribers. Slowly but surely, we are getting there. And we greatly appreciate can't say the word, appreciate your support. So please keep tuning in for more live videos, content, and so forth. We have so much more coming up soon. But you guys are listening to The Sideline Speaks with myself, Britne Jones, alongside Jason Collins and Kevin Walker, right here on Never Had It So Good Sports Media Network.
CampLyman.com is an opportunity for my big boys to come get some work. Let's put it all together. We built from the ground up. Our cliche is it all starts up front. Once again, start, stance, hand placement, hand separation, get-offs, counter moves, a little bit of everything. Polish up those skills before your middle school or high school season began. Just come work on your craft. Once again, camplyman.com.
You're inside Never Had It So Good Sports Radio with Princess Cooper, Tim Moore, David the Duck Riley, Jason Collins, Shoshana Cook, Britne Jones, Travis McGee, Eric Scott, and Kevin Walker. We make it easy to talk sports.
All right, welcome back to the Sideline Speaks. Britne Jones, Kevin Walker, and Jason Collins. All right, guys, I want to talk a little bit about Lamar Jackson. There's just all kind of ways that we can go with this. Obviously, he didn't play this weekend. Was he really hurt? Was he trying to make a point? His contract situation. Is he going to be back next year? All sorts of things happening with Lamar. But Kate Walk, let me just start here. What do you think is next for Lamar? Is he going to – are the Ravens going to sign him? Is he going to go elsewhere? What do you think is next for Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, from what I'm hearing, Jay, is that the Ravens are going to tag him and then try to work out a long-term deal. That's what I'm hearing right now. I don't know how true that is. That could just be something that they just want to say, to keep Lamar there or have Lamar think about what's going on. I mean, about him staying there. But you know what, Jay? I think they may do a sign and trade deal here, man. They may sign him and then trade him. I'm just looking at all these teams that he could possibly go to. I know that's the next question, so I won't jump the gun. But nonetheless, I think he'll. It's hard for me to say this, Jay, because they just signed Roquan Smith to that huge deal, the 5-year, $100 million deal, $45 million guaranteed. And from what I'm hearing, Roquan Smith is in the same situation as Lamar, where he negotiated his own contract. If I'm understanding that correctly, I know Lamar has his mother involved as well, but pretty much it's the same deal. You don't have an agent or a lawyer or anything like that working your deal. And he's come out and said that the injury is a little bit more serious than he thought. It's a little more severe than he thought. I don't know if that's him just, playing,
right.
Playing that card, if you will, saying, listen, okay, you gave Roquan Smith that big deal, so what about my deal? You know what? My knee is still bothering me.
Right.
It's not. It's more serious than I thought. So we're going to hold off on negotiation. I'm going to hold off on playing in this game. And they came out and said that if Lamar would have played in that game, they would have won it. They felt like they would have won it if Lamar was under the helm. So I think it was a smart move by Lamar by not playing. A lot of people felt like he could play. So great move there, and I think it gives him leverage going into the negotiation process for sure.
Yeah, I think it was the right move not to play as well.
Yeah.
I think that was his second best move. I think his best move would have been not to play at the beginning of the season when he didn't have the contract, when he was going to bet on himself, when he should have just took the money that was on the table. But Brett, we haven't seen like an elite quarterback like Lamar get treated this way in the NFL. Like if you want to, Kirk Cousins kind of got this treatment where they wouldn't give him a big deal. They kept franchising. Okay, Kirk made a lot of money that way, but they never really bought into him. What do you think is next for Lamar, Brett? I mean, is he going to be a Raven? How do you see this thing kind of playing out?
First and foremost, I wouldn't buy into Kirk Cousins. I don't care what 400-yard games he got. He can't win when it matters, so I'm not buying into that.
Money, though.
Well, I can say he's one step above Sam Bradford. So there you go. But Lamar Jackson, I think he'll be a Raven. I do. Where would they go if you get rid of Lamar Jackson? If you let Lamar go, you tag him and sign it for who?
There's a lot of quarterbacks coming out there. There's a Derek Carr. I'm just naming a few: Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo, Tom Brady. Make a run at Tom Brady. I don't know what they want to do with
Lamar
that.
Jackson. So you're going to take a Derek Carr, a Kirk Cousins, or a Tom Brady over Lamar Jackson?
Well, you wouldn't do it. Yeah, you wouldn't do it, but
ridiculous.
Yeah, you're right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that to me, that's just ridiculous. Like you have really, in my opinion, no other options unless you want to start over. And if you start over, how would that impact the rest of your team? You know, your team does not want to start over. Your team loves Lamar Jackson. Your team wants Lamar Jackson here. They, like you said, K-Walk, they just literally came out and said that. They had no support whatsoever for Jason Huntley or anybody else. They said if we had Lamar Jackson, we would have won this game. And this possibility would have been true because Jason Huntley's decision making clearly is just not there. So I think they may tag him. I think they will figure out a way, and eventually Lamar will get as close. He's not probably won't get what he wants, but he'll get close to that number that he wants. And we're going to be talking about next year how big of a deal this is going to be. Will he get that Deshaun Watson type of deal? No, because that was a different type of situation. I don't even know if Deshaun Watson's going to see all of that money because all the lawyers he had to pay and all the money that has to go out to other people. It most likely will probably be in between that Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray type of deal, somewhere in there, because you cannot tell me he's not better than Kyler Murray. He's a much better quarterback than Kyler Murray. And the way Russell Wilson played this year, I think Russell Wilson will redeem himself. But to me, Lamar Jackson this year is a much better quarterback than Russell Wilson. So I think eventually it will take some time. The Ravens organization is going to have to make up some way, somehow. But I think at the end of the day, he's going to stay a Raven.
It's funny. I mean, because it doesn't even feel like it's clear that the Ravens aren't like chomping at the bit to give this guy a long-term deal. And you have to ask yourself why. Like if we're putting Lamar in the conversation with all the other great quarterbacks in the NFL, all those guys have contracts. All of them, if their contracts are up, are going to get extended. What is the issue with, it's clear to me that there's something about Lamar that the Ravens don't believe in. Whether you say, well, maybe they don't think the longevity's there, he's going to get hurt. Maybe they're not sure he's the guy. I don't know. But K-Walk, can you put your finger on that? Like, what is it about Lamar that the Ravens don't believe in? Or is it just business? Is it just business?
Well, I can't say it's just business because the fact of the matter is, what they did with Roquan Smith. I just can't get over that contract after we know everything that Lamar is going through. Britne kind of said it, but I don't know if anyone heard it. What's the reason? Injury. He's injury. But they put him in those situations. They put him at risk to be injured. Sure. They don't make him a pocket quarterback. He's constantly a running quarterback. And I constantly say, Greg Roman, that's his offense. He did the same thing. He ran the same offense with Colin Kaepernick when he was with the 49ers when Jim Harbaugh was there. He was the offensive coordinator there. Ran the same type of offense, that read option, and we saw what Colin Kaepernick did, back then and what Lamar is doing now. So I just think they don't want I don't know what it is exactly, but they just don't, for whatever reason, they just don't trust this guy for whatever reason, man. And then they come out and say, we had Lamar in this game, we would have won the game and moved on to the divisional round. So again, that goes back to what I was saying earlier, that I believe that gives Lamar a little bit more leverage if he wants to continue to negotiate with these guys. But I just don't know what it is exactly, why they didn't give him his contract already, Jay. I just don't, because there's all these guys you mentioned, all these quarterbacks you mentioned, they have their contracts or their fifth year's been picked up and they're going to get paid. What is it about Lamar? And Britne alluded to it as well. Like, who are you going to go out there that's better than Lamar right now? You got all these quarterbacks I talked about, Derek Carr, Tom Brady, Jimmy Garoppolo, and a couple other guys that is going to be on the market on the offseason. But do you really want those guys over Lamar? Got to ask yourself that question. You kind of paint yourself in a corner right there. But to answer your question, Jay, I really don't know what it is exactly.
This is what the Ravens.
Go ahead.
This is what the Ravens need to do. You keep Lamar and you get some playmakers around him.
Yeah, trading all these trades.
You got J.K. Dobbins, great running back. Is he the best running back? No, but he's a good running back for your team. Get some receivers, some playmakers around Lamar Jackson so he doesn't have to be that. He's always going to be a mobile quarterback. That's his game. That's part of his game. We say the same thing with Jalen Hurts, now Brock Purdy, Daniel Jones, so forth, so forth. This is a part of their game, right? But you got to make the game easier for him. And hopefully that will allow him to be more available because every time he runs too much. In my mind, Lamar Jackson is running the ball way too much. He is more of a running back than he is a quarterback because they don't have any playmakers. He throws it to his receivers. What receivers does he have? I don't even know a name. I don't know.
Because they're either gone or they're hurt. They're either gone or they're hurt.
Exactly.
You got Mark Andrews, and that's it.
That's it. You only have Mark Andrews, and we've seen that in the last game. It was J.K. Dobbins, Mark Andrews. That was really it. Get some more playmakers. That will help Lamar Jackson. That will even make this team even better because the defensive side of the ball, you need a couple pieces, but it's not that bad.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, Britt. I guess the only thing I'm thinking is like the Ravens, they see him up close and personal every day. And I again, there's something there. I don't know what it is, but there's something that they don't believe in. So I guess here's the other question that I'm thinking, just kind of going through this in my mind. Let's say they did get a guy like a Jimmy G. Like, how different do you think their record would really be? Like, do you think if Jimmy G is the quarterback of the Ravens, they're going to be significantly worse than if Lamar is? I don't know that they're going to be significantly worse, especially if they were able to add some pieces. So I'm just wondering, like, how many games do you think Lamar Jackson adds to your win total compared to maybe a guy like a Jimmy G or a guy like, I'll say a Kirk Cousins, like just a middle of the road guy like K-Walk. Is Lamar adding that many more wins to your win total?
Yeah, Jay, I think he does. I mean, you got to protect him, though. I think if you protect him better, yes, I think he does because of the fact of the matter. Again, I think Greg Roman is the guy here that we have to really point the finger at. And I guess you have to point the finger at, a John Harbaugh and that brass there for allowing him to be the offensive coordinator and allowing him to call the offense that he wants to call. They brought him in because this is the offense that they want to see him run. And Lamar Jackson. If you go back, guys, if you don't know, look at what Greg Roman did with Colin Kaepernick when the 49ers went to the Super Bowl that year. Look the type of offense that he ran. Same type of offense. The only difference is Kaepernick had better weapons around him. Yeah. Whereas, and that's in Britt, that's where you alluded to. You got to get weapons around him. You got to get a receiver who can stretch the field. You got a great tight end. Don't get me wrong. You got a good running back, but you got to get other pieces around him as well. So, yeah, Jay, I think they could do it, but they just got to protect them a little better and give them a little bit more weapons, a couple more weapons.
Yeah, I guess. Go ahead.
Were you alluding to the fact that Jimmy G is as good or better than Lamar Jackson with that question?
I'm not saying he's better than Lamar Jackson. I'm just saying if he's the quarterback, are they going to be significantly worse? I don't know that I think they're going to be significantly worse if he's the quarterback. Like, I don't think they all of a sudden go from like with a 10-win team to a 6-win team. Like, I don't know that Lamar's impact is that great on that team. But maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. They almost won a playoff game with Tyler Huntley. Like, if he doesn't try to dive over the goal line, they win a playoff game without Lamar. So, I mean,
look at their three quarterbacks. They're very similar. Lamar Jackson, Huntley, and Brown. They're all the same. Yeah. They're all the same. So, again, the common denominator there, in my opinion, is Greg Roman.
Yeah, I agree. They all the same. But I just look. I like Lamar. I think he's good. I just don't know, like, from like 5 years from now, I'm not convinced of how good he's going to be. And then I guess the other thing to me is, like, it's about winning Super Bowls, right? He plays in the AFC. You got Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert. Like, those guys aren't going anywhere. Like, is Lamar going to?
But
they all against any of those guys? I'm not.
What do they all have? What do they all have that Lamar does not?
Weapons. Receivers.
Receivers. Give Lamar some weapons, and he'll be right in that conversation with those guys. I can guarantee. Josh Allen did not play.
I would go that far, but I hear your point about
Josh Allen did not play that great until who got there? Stephon Diggs got there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I agree, Lamar. Weapon. I agree, Lamar needs more weapons. I agree, but I guess the thing I keep questioning is why won't the Ravens give this guy a contract? Like if he's as great as everyone says he is, why won't they sign him? Mahomes has a deal.
We'll see. I guess we'll see. Well, he's not on Mahomes. The
Has a
Mahomes
deal.
is a
Burrow
different
has the deal.
subject.
Sean
But
Watson
he's
has
just
the
as
deal.
valuable, though. He's
Burrow
just
is
as
a
valuable
rookie.
to them as
He's on
they
his
are
rookie
to them, too.
contract, so that's different.
But he's going to
But
get some. I mean, do we not
Lamar
think
is going
Cincinnati's
to-
going to sign him?
Yeah.
Lamar's
of
the
course.
only guy in
Lamar-
that category
Lamar-
that they won't sign.
And if the Ravens don't do it, they'll be making the biggest mistake, and they'll just have to start over, and they'll see it. Point blank. Period. So it's either you do it.
It's going to
you
be
start
interesting. It's going to be interesting. I don't know. It's going to be fun to watch. I don't want to sound like I'm hating on Lamar. I think he's good.
Oh, no,
I
not
don't
at all.
wanna
Not at
come
all.
off-
Not at all.
I don't want to come off like I think he's a bum. I think he's really good. I just don't know that I would put him in the category of some of these other guys. That's just me.
No,
But,
I don't put him in the category of Mahomes, Jay. Mahomes.
What
heck
about
no.
what about Josh Allen?
I think if he had weapons, he'll be up there.
I think
But you gotta
get
we're
him
overlooking the offense, though, man. I think we're really because they're not in the same offense, whereas
You're right, K-Walk.
I
You're
think that's
right.
what it is.
I guess though, K-Walk, I guess my other question would be, and maybe, do they run that offense because that's just the offense they run, or do they run that offense because they think that's the offense that Lamar can run?
Yeah, your aforementioned
what I
question,
mean?
which is because that's what I said. That's what I was alluding to. Greg Roman, go back to 49ers, what he did with Colin Kaepernick. That's the
Right.
same. He's running the same offense, that running style quarterback. That's what I'm saying. So yes,
Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you put Lamar in Patrick Mahomes' offense, if you put him in the Chargers' offense, if you put him in the Bengals' offense, do you think he's successful?
Jay, let's do this. That's what I say the Ravens do based off that question. Tag Lamar, fire Greg Roman, bring in a coordinator that can let him allow him to throw the ball, get him some weapons, and then that'll answer that question. Yeah, and then I don't know. Yeah. I think that will answer the question though.
Yeah, that'll definitely answer the question. I'm just not sure what the answer will be. But
right, exactly. I agree.
Look,
I concur.
I don't know.
So here's my question. MVP Lamar year 2019. What's that? 3 years ago. If we're doing football seasons, MVP year, he had John Harbaugh as the head coach. 14-2 that year. He was balling. Okay, they lost in the first round. He's a young player. I think he was only 22 at the time, inexperienced. So is it a head coach situation? Is it a play calling? Because John Harbaugh's offense, is it the same as who's the head coach now?
Harbaugh's still a coach.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Harbaugh is the Harbaugh is the coach.
Who's the
coach? But what
question
changed?
is
What changed between now and then?
Before I answer that question, let me ask this question: who were the receivers at that time?
Let's see. You had hold on, guys. I'm trying to look it up
Mark
now.
Andrews was still there. I think they had
J.K. Dobbins was still there.
They had another running back there. I forget his. He was good. What was his running back name?
I think was Hollywood Brown on there. Yeah, Hollywood Brown.
I don't think Hollywood Brown was before Hollywood Brown. I think Hollywood Brown was like 2 years ago.
Okay, here we go. I got the players here. Let's see. Mark Ingram. We said that right.
Mark Ingram. That's the running back.
Miles Borkin, Willie Snead. Willie Snead was decent at the time.
Yeah.
He didn't go here anywhere else. He didn't really go to.
Yeah.
Miles Borkin.
Yeah. So
it sounds like it was just
nobody was really setting the world on fire.
Wash,
yeah.
exactly.
Nobody was setting the world on fire. I think it'll be interesting to watch, guys. I don't know. To me, when people don't want to sign you, whether the Ravens are right or wrong about it, they think there's something there. They think there's a reason. They could be completely wrong about Lamar, but they think there's a reason why they don't want to pony up this money.
I agree.
But let's move on, guys. We got to get on with some other stuff here before we run out of time here. Great games over the weekend. Some thrillers, some comebacks, just some exciting football in that wild card round. But what do you think was the most impressive team? We saw some comebacks. We saw some teams just dominate from start to finish. We saw some teams that started slow but looked really good in the second half. Britt, coming out of the weekend, who do you think was the most impressive team in this first round of the playoffs?
I could tell you the games I wasn't impressed with because I already knew who's. Well, basically, my record for this weekend was perfect. By the way, just want to let y'all know that. Just saying. Um, Look, the Giants. That wasn't impressive to me. I already knew the Giants were going to win that game. I was not impressed with the Vikings team, nor really their defense. The Cowboys, I knew that they would beat the Bucks. The 49ers, I knew they would beat the Seahawks. If I literally had to choose, I guess it would come down to that Jaguars game. I really did. I was going for, so you know what? That was the most impressive game because I was not that sure. I know I rooted for the Jaguars. I said they would win. I just wasn't that confident that they would win. But the way they won was crazy. Trevor Lawrence threw 4 picks in the first quarter, I believe. And I think 3 went to Asante Samuel Jr., if I can recall. 4 turnovers. Any game over the course of this season, or really in football in general, if you throw 4 turnovers, that game is over. That's the end of that game.
Should do.
The Jaguars came out and said absolutely not after halftime. I don't know what Doug Peterson said to this team. They made some adjustments. I don't know what he said to Trevor Lawrence. But as we know, Doug Peterson, is a player's coach. He is a quarterback's coach. He's a former quarterback, so he knows that position. He tries to understand it from their perspective from being a former player. And he said it. I trusted this guy. You didn't see him yell at Trevor Lawrence. You didn't see him scream in his face. You know what I seen with Doug Peterson? He tapped him on the head, on his helmet, and said, "We got this. Don't worry about it." He instilled that confidence in this young team. And they came out and they played their butts off in that second half and won this game 31-30. So if I had to choose, it would be that game.
Yeah, that was a really good win for Jacksonville. Like you said, we all picked them, Britt, but I don't know if any of us really believed they were going to win. It was more like we hope they win. So that was a really good win. To me, I don't know. Like an obvious pick could be the Cowboys because they just dominated Tampa Bay. It was not a game at all. But if I'm talking about the most impressive team, to me, I think it's K-Walk's 49ers. Even though that they were down by 1 at halftime, and K-Walk talked about the halftime adjustments. That team looks scary to me at times. Like in the AFC, we talk about Kansas City being scary. In the NFC, the 49ers look scary when they're hitting on all cylinders, when they're getting everybody involved. And it can't be understated, K-Walk, when you talked about scheming guys open, I think the 49ers do it better than anyone else. You know, so much of the NFL now is throwing up a ball where guys are covered and you're just hoping your guy can make the play over somebody else. And the 49ers have guys just running wide open and it's scheme. So to me, they're the most impressive team because they're just so difficult to stop. If you try to take one thing away, they're going to hurt you in a different way. So I wish I could say my Cowboys, but K-Walk, it's your 49ers.
All right. I believe it or not, I had 3 because I figured you guys would take 2 of mine. I didn't know if I was going to go first, second, or third. So Britt took the Jags. That was my first one. You kind of alluded to the Cowboys. So I went with the second one. I didn't want to talk about my 49ers because I just don't want to jinx these guys, man. I'm just too nervous right now. But I'm going to take you mentioned, Jay, you mentioned the Giants. I'm going to say the Giants, and I'm not going to say just so much the Giants as it was Daniel Jones, because I think it was Daniel Jones that I was more impressed with than anything. Because of the fact of the matter is he did what no other quarterback did in the playoffs. He threw for over 300 yards. Threw 2 touchdowns and rushed for over 70 yards as well. You mentioned it earlier in the show, Jay, that they were designed to he rushed for 17 times for 70 yards. And what they just did on defense as well, they took everything away from what the Vikings like to do. And I don't know if it was so much the Giants, just being better than the Vikings or the Vikings just not being able to adjust. But I'm going to go with the aforementioned. I'm going to say the Giants were better than them. You mentioned Dable Britt as being the coach of the year. I think he did a great job of those guys, getting them prepared, having them go into a hostile environment. And so I'm going to say the Giants were the most impressive for me.
Yeah, a lot of impressive wins this weekend. I don't think you can go wrong with any of the picks that we have. One thing's for sure, there's going to be some really good, competitive, interesting
For sure,
football
for
games
sure.
this weekend. So we got a lot to look forward to. Let's shift gears, guys, real quick. We got to talk about LeBron James. This man is on the verge of breaking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record for scoring. You know the LeBron lovers. This is going to be another feather in their cap to say he's the GOAT, that he's better than MJ. Now that he's the number one scorer in NBA history. K-Walk, I know that
Princess.
I don't know that there's anything LeBron can do. If he won 3 straight titles starting now, I don't think there's anything he could do to pass MJ in your book. So I'm gonna let you think about it for a minute, K-Walk. And Britt, I'm gonna come to you because LeBron might be a little bit more of your generation. You saw MJ, but sort of the tail end of MJ.
Mhm.
As LeBron passes Kareem, Britt, does this make his case stronger to be the GOAT? Will he be the greatest of all time?
No, not in my opinion. Now, look, remember, we had this conversation. So in the younger generations, they may say, I don't know MJ. I don't know whoever else. So he is my GOAT. Or I don't know
Kareem.
LeBron.
Y'all know
KD is
Kareem.
my GOAT. Right, exactly. So, no. And the reason why I say no is you're talking about the greatest of all time. Most people say Michael Jordan. A lot of people say LeBron. Correct? It's usually those two for the most part.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Nobody really says Kareem. Kareem had that record for over 30 years, guys. He held that
center.
record for over 30 years as a center. Exactly. So he is not the primary ball handler. He is not passing the ball to himself. He is getting the ball passed to him, and he has to make things happen in the post, which is not an easy thing to do, especially when people collapse down on you in the paint. Oh, and did we not forget he also has 6 rings. LeBron has how many rings?
4.
So he has 4. He's about to have the record. Kareem has 6, and he held the record for over 30 years, and a lot of people don't consider him to be the GOAT. So in my opinion, I'm going to say no. No, because clearly to me, that's still not enough to do it if Kareem was never considered the GOAT. So I'm gonna keep it in MJ's hand. Now, MJ's hands, but now somebody may be 12, more than half my age, and they may tell me otherwise. But in my opinion, no.
Yeah, look, it's a fair point. I mean, we never have looked at the scoring list before and said, oh, Kareem's the GOAT. Karl Malone, he's second. Like, we never used that list before to decide who we thought the best player in the league was. Hey, Walk, I know it's MJ for you. So let me frame it a little different. LeBron's going to be the leading scorer in NBA history. I think he's going to be second in assist, 4 NBA championships. There's no denying how good of a basketball player he is. Is there anything LeBron can do from now until he's finished playing, in your eyes, to pass MJ, or is MJ undisputed no matter what happens?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I think MJ's that guy. I don't think LeBron can pass him because that too. You could throw that in there too, Britt. 6-0 in the NBA Finals, 6-time NBA MVP. I don't look at the numbers. What I do is I look at the body of work and the way he performed on the court. That's what I look. I mean, I just look at him as a pure basketball player, as an athlete. I know LeBron. People want to say, well, LeBron's 6'9". He runs faster than, he's quicker than a hiccup, things of that nature. I mean, we get all that. But I mean, I see when I watch MJ, just the way he went about the game and the moves that he made, things of that nature. You could throw the numbers in there as well. Then let me ask you this question. So since he's going to surpass Kareem, let me ask you this, guys. Is last night we watched Tom Brady, and we mentioned he's skipping rocks. Does that change the fact that he's the GOAT? Does that change your mind that he's still the GOAT? No. It's as bad as he looked. He looks. So flipping that, I'm going to say LeBron, just as good as your numbers are and as good as you look, you're still not the GOAT in my opinion. I just don't think that the numbers matter in this point. And to me, anyway, we can compare the numbers, but the fact of the matter is, you play what, 20 years? You came in the league at the age of 17, 18. Mike came in at his after his junior year. He he after his second year, he broke his foot, so he lost the majority of that. Then he, took the year and a half off, the retirement. Yep. I mean, if MJ would have played longer, and he would have probably been the all-time leading scorer if he really wanted to do that. So that's not even an argument there. Anyway, I think anyone who is as good as LeBron, and I'm not putting LeBron down, brother. If you're watching him, not knocking you, but I just think that the body of work and looking at MJ, athlete to athlete, basketball player to basketball player, just the things that he did, the way he looked on the court, some of the moves that he made, or a lot of the moves that he made. I just don't see that in your game. I just see that you're just a bull running with a basketball and just trying to just be a bully. That's all I'm just looking at right now. So MJ's my guy. I don't care what LeBron does. He can win 3 more, play till he's 50, and MJ will always be my GOAT.
Yeah, man. Go ahead, Britt.
I'm sorry, Jay. I got another point to make with that. I could go along with what K Walker was saying, because MJ dominated, not just on the court, but mentally. Yes. He dominated. He was in people's heads. Like, he owns a lot of real estate in his opposing players' heads. LeBron didn't have that necessarily. Like, people looked at his size, but I don't think LeBron put fear. Like, MJ put fear in the opposition. Like, and you heard people say that in their interviews. I did not. I woke up to that. Right. I did not want to play him. I had to play him. I didn't want to. The only reason why I played him was because it was in my contract. I had no choice. So it was just mentally, there's a big difference. Mentally, Jordan was figuring it out right there with the Bulls organization. He wasn't going anywhere else. He was going to figure out right there. He was like, no, this is where I'm at. This is where I'm going to stay. We're going to figure out here. Mentally, fourth quarter, when it's time to close the game, last 2 minutes of the game, who's got the ball in his hand? Jordan. This is Jordan's game. LeBron's a little bit different when it comes to that. He wants to dish it off to the D-Wades. Even the last game, he allowed Russell Westbrook, granted he's 38 years old, but Russell Westbrook to take over. And that's been like that throughout his entire career. I love LeBron James. I have respect for LeBron James, but it's just different when it comes to Michael Jordan. And here's another thing I want to say about that scoring record. I'm sorry, Jay, because I know you got to go. How many years did Kareem play in college? 4, something like that?
Yeah, 4.
4 years in college.
4.
So that's 4 less years. Mm-hmm. 4 less years. Or he was older when he came into the league, right?
Yeah.
And then when was the 3-point line invented? 1979, something like that. He's a center. He's not shooting threes.
Yeah.
And he had the scoring record for over 30 years. It took LeBron with threes and twos and free throws to pass almost 20 years to pass Kareem. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point about the mental part. I agree with that 100%. And K-Walk, you're right. I mean, numbers only tell part of the story. It's longevity, it's style of play. I think we're watching an NBA right now where it's never been easier to score, ever. I mean, we got guys getting 50 every single night. So I think that factors into it as well. But you're right, K-Walk. Like, my eyes tell me when I watch the two of those guys play. Like, if you just drop somebody here from another planet and said, watch those two guys, who's better? Yeah. My eyes tell me that Jordan is better. So I agree. I don't think that just breaking the scoring title automatically puts you as the GOAT. For me, it's MJ, and I think it's always going to be MJ. All right, guys, let's get into our rants. Let's do these 1-minute rants every week. We just like to give a little rant, 1 minute. It can be positive. It can be negative. Just whatever's on your mind, whatever's on your heart. You get 1 minute to get it all out. We're going to watch the clock. We'll cut you off if you go over your time. Britne Jones, we're going to start with you this week.
I know I always go first.
Because I like to go in the middle. I like to hide my rant in the middle because my rants are not on point.
I could go first because you guys already alluded to my
Okay,
my
K-Walk,
rant
you
earlier.
want to kick it
I'll
off?
go first.
Tonight?
Yeah, I'll go
Okay,
first.
all right,
Yeah.
K-Walk. Yeah, go ahead, kick it off.
If you guys were watching earlier, it was about the Tom Brady talk. Going to the 49ers next year, possibly being a 49er. Can we stop that talk right now, right here and now? Because of the fact of the matter, it makes zero sense, like Jay alluded to. It makes zero sense to have, knowing that they have this young kid, Brock Purdy, and they're saying, well, what if he doesn't lead this team to the Super Bowl? Okay, so what? He doesn't lead this team to the Super Bowl, but he's a rookie right now. Last pick of the draft, but he's playing very well, so he's only going to get better going forward. Then they got to back up and Trey Lance. So why would you bring a 46? I'm saying 46. I know he's 45, but next year he'll be 46. So it makes no sense to have to bring in a Tom Brady at the age of 46 to tool these guys because he knows nothing about this offense. So it makes zero sense. So with that being said, stop that Tom Brady to the 49ers talk right now.
Okay, well, I 100% agree. I have nothing to add to that. I agree 1,000% with that.
Can I ask a quick question? So Trey Lance is the backup now?
Well, I'm saying right now he is. If he would have come back now, but hey, they gotta let it play out. They gotta let it play out. But it doesn't look good for Trey right now.
Hey, I'm always trying to stir some trouble up.
Hey, yeah, he's got the experience both in college and right now in the regular season and in the playoffs. So yeah, I'm going on the limb and say Purdy's number one, QB1 going into the season next year.
I agree. You're going to have to do some work if you're going to knock Purdy out of that spot, I think, for sure. All right, I'm going to go next. I want to talk about something we've talked about before. Maybe someone has even done a rant on it before, but these roughing the passer calls in the NFL are just ridiculous. They are getting out of control. We saw one last night in the Bucs game. Deion Sanders was up in arms about that one. But that wasn't even the worst one of the weekend. The one in the Giants and Vikings game on Kirk Cousins was just absolutely ridiculous. And if the Giants don't turn around and win that game, we're talking about that call because that call really could have changed the football game. So I just don't understand what we're doing with these roughing the passer calls. They're so inconsistent. One time you slam a guy down, it's not roughing the passer. Next time you swing a guy down, it is roughing the passer. You fall on a guy, it's not. You fall on a guy, it is. We have to get some consistency with these roughing the passer calls. I don't want to see a bad roughing the passer call interfere with one of these close football games that we have in the playoffs. NFL officials, please figure out what we're doing with roughing the passer. This is just absolutely ridiculous.
And Jay, and they're bringing the replay back for roughing the passer. They're talking about bringing it. I'm not saying they're going to, but they're talking about bringing in the replay for roughing the passer. So that's a great rant there, though.
That would be a good first step, at least, man. Because some of these calls, I just don't understand. I don't know what they're looking at on some of these calls.
I think it's messing up the game, to be honest with you, because you could see the defenders a lot of times, defensive players. They're like, they don't go full force because they're scared of getting a call, and it's messing up the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But Britt, bring us home. What you got tonight?
So I wasn't sure which way to go. This is why I didn't want to go first. I was torn between two topics. One we talked about earlier. The other is a home team. But I'm going to go with the topic we talked about earlier. And this is the Baltimore freaking Ravens and how they're handling Lamar Jackson. To this front office, I'm coming at the front office, the owner, whoever else is listening right now. Don't be stupid. And I'm looking dead at you. Do not be stupid. Sign this young man. Give him the contract that he deserves. Granted, I understand longevity may be a problem. Injury issues may be a problem. Then put a clause in his contract. But what are you going to do? You're going to start over? Who are you going to go get? Jason Huntley is going to start for you? Oh, Jimmy G is going to start. Oh, you know what? 46-year-old Tom Brady. Let's go get him. Let's see how far you get next year or the year after. Do you really want to start over? Again, do not be dumb. Treat this man right. He was a former MVP at only 22 years old, and you know without him, you're not getting very far. Do the right thing. And I'm not even a Ravens fan. I'm done.
Short and to the point. It's hard to argue that. And it's going to be interesting to see because I don't think the Ravens are going to do the right thing. But it's going to be interesting to watch. It's going to be interesting to watch. All right, guys, let's squeeze in our Who's Ballin' segment before we get out of here. Every week we like to shout out a team or a player, just someone who's been playing great ball. A lot of good choices this week. I'll go first. I'm going to go straight to Dallas with my Cowboys. Mr. Dak Prescott last night was phenomenal. 25 of 33, 305 yards, 4 touchdown passes. Most importantly, no interceptions. Dak was great. If he plays like that up against anybody other than those 49ers, I would say the Cowboys would be tough to beat, but I'm nervous about San Francisco. But you got to tip your cap to Dak. He was outstanding. He absolutely balled out last night. Dak Prescott is balling. K-Walk, who you got?
You know what? You stole mine, man. You stole mine.
Okay.
And I don't like how you keep playing that card and say, "Oh, I'm nervous. I'm nervous." You're playing the card that I'm nervous. You're playing the card that I'm playing. But I think, you know what? I'm going to go. You know what? I'm going to stay with the guy that I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to stay with Daniel Jones here. Britt, I know you probably want to hear this. You probably want to think he's going to go opposite here, though. But
give him credit.
I'm gonna go with Daniel Jones here, man. Daniel Jones, like I mentioned earlier, over 300 yards passing, 70 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns to lead that underdog team. A lot of people had him underdogs. I mean, Britt and I didn't. I don't know. I forget who you picked, Jay, but I didn't feel like it was an upset if the Giants. Yeah. Oh, did he? Yeah. Okay. So I didn't feel like it was an upset, though, to be honest with you. So with that being said, Daniel Jones did his thing against the Vikings, getting ready for the Eagles. But on Saturday or Sunday, Daniel Jones was balling.
Yes, he was. I hope he balls out again this weekend, too. I hope he balls out again this weekend. He's just the only reason I'm saying that is because Britt just tried to throw me under a bus. I was going to let that thing go that I picked the Vikings and they lost, and then Britt had to slide it in there. He picked the Vikings.
Hey,
so,
I'm just saying, I don't know what you was seeing in the Minnesota Vikings, but clearly nobody else seen what you seen because we went the opposite direction.
Yeah, I'm only joking, Britt. But who you got, Britt? Who's balling for you? Were you going to go with Dak as well?
Wow. Actually, I thought about that. I did think about that. I'm not a hater. I'm not like you, Jay. I'm not a hater. I'm a realist here. I'm an Eagles fan. We're realistic. No, I went a different direction, guys. This person actually has not played in 4 years, something like that, 2018. I went with she just recently announced her retirement. Had to represent the ladies. I went with former or retired WNBA player, the GOAT, Maya Moore.
Yes.
Like I said, she officially announced her retirement from the WNBA after only playing. Now, when I say her stat line, remember, she only played 7 seasons, 7 WNBA seasons, 4 WNBA championships, 2 gold medals, 2014 WNBA MVP, a 6-time All-Star, 3-time All-Star MVP, 5-time All-WNBA first team. And again, she accomplished all of this, plus a whole bunch more accolades that she accomplished. She only did this in 7 WNBA seasons. Maya Moore was balling.
Nice.
That's a great call. That is a great call. I saw that yesterday that she was retiring officially, I guess. Yeah. And then when I saw 4 WNBA titles, that's incredible, man. In a 7-year run, like that's definitely getting it done.
That's better than NJ. Woo! No.
I mean, we missed out on a lot of really good basketball by her. Yeah. I mean, hey, she was doing some great work off the court, obviously.
Sure,
man,
for sure.
It would have been nice to see her play a little bit longer. So great call there, Britt, for sure. All right, guys, let's get out of here. You know, it's getting close to my bedtime, so we gotta go ahead and wrap this thing up. Britt, let the people know where they can find you. And I know you're looking forward to football this weekend, but tell the people if there's anything else you're looking forward to as well.
Look, this weekend was a nice, relaxing, stress-free, anxiety-free weekend. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I'm looking forward to my Eagles playing. I'm nervous just as much as you guys are. I think this will be a much tougher game than what people think. Hopefully the Eagles are healthy, but I'm looking forward to the Eagles playing the Giants, and I'm looking forward to these Cowboys playing these 49ers. That's going to be a fantastic game as well. of course, basketball. But you guys can find me. I narrowed it down to, I'm thinking about narrowing it down to only 2, but it's still 3. TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram at Britne Monique.
All right, good stuff there, Britt. Yeah, I'm with you. I can't wait to watch football again this weekend. I just really hope for good games. I mean, the Cowboys are my team, but I don't like you guys. I don't live and die with them. I mean, so I hope they win because it'll be fun to keep talking about them. But I'm just looking forward to some really good games. If we get entertaining games, I'll be happy. You guys can find me at Jason Talk Sports on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. So yeah, can't wait for some good stuff coming up this weekend. Okay, Walk, what about you?
Yeah, just to echo everything you guys said. I really hope that my 49ers can pull this game out because, for one, guys know how passionate I am about them, man. And if the Cowboys happen to pull this one out or win this game, do not look for me. I won't be on a milk carton, but just know that I'll be all right. I won't be on a ledge. I won't be on a ledge. Not saying I won't think about it, but and the Cowboy fans, if you watching, don't text me, man, because y'all know I don't talk junk. I don't talk junk by any stretch. With all that being said, bang bang Niner game. Go Niners, man. Go Niners. I am looking forward to that Giants Eagles game. I don't know, Britt, as a fan, I don't know who I want to. I know who I want to win, but I just wow, that the two fan bases, and I hear it all the time. I see it on Facebook all the time. Giants are going to the Super Bowl. Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl. All I want to say is I just hope that I don't see a all NFC East NFC championship. Put it that way. I
don't know. Okay. It's a lot of people that really want the Cowboys and the Eagles in the NFC championship.
A lot of people, right? And there's a lot of people on the West Coast that feel differently. So so with that being said, where you can catch me at? Go ahead.
I was gonna say NFL will only won it because of ratings. I think that was their highest game this year, was that Cowboys-Eagles game this year, unfortunately. But I'm with you, K-Walk. I think the 49ers will take it.
All right. I hope so. So you from your mouth to the football guys' ears. So with that being said, you can catch me on Instagram at Kevin.Walker142, Twitter at KevinWalker142, and of course on Facebook, Kevin Walker.
Good stuff. Okay, well, yeah. The only reason I don't want the Giants to win is because I want to see the best teams keep playing. And even though the Giants have been great, they've overachieved. A 49er Eagle matchup would be great. A Cowboy Eagle matchup would be great. I feel like if the Giants weasel their way in there, it's going to lose a little bit of luster. So that's kind of why I'm hoping the Eagles will win. Because
Giants fan, he said that, not me.
Look, as we all know, it's not easy to beat a team 3 times.
Yeah,
I'm still thinking the Eagles will win, but it's still not easy to beat them 3 straight times. I mean, history will probably tell me otherwise. I think they win like 50 or 60% of the time, but you just never know. It's a close matchup.
Yeah. Should be good. When we come back next Tuesday, we will have the answers to all these questions.
I may or may not be here, ladies and gentlemen.
K-Walk's not here. We know why. Yeah, we know why.
I may or may not be here neither, because I'll never hear it down from a Giants fan ever again. Oh my gosh, I will not hear it
down. All right, good stuff, y'all.
Yes.
Brittany Jones and Kevin Walker. I'm Jason Collins. We'll see you guys back here next week. Please don't forget to subscribe to the Sideline Speaks. We certainly appreciate your support on our way to 250 subscribers. So help us get there, and we'll see you guys next week.
You're inside Never Had It So Good Sports Radio with Princess Cooper, Tim Moore, David the Duck Riley, Jason Collins, Shoshana Cook, Britne Jones, Travis McGee, Eric Scott, and Kevin Walker. We make it easy to talk sports.